Welcome back to Firefly Studios. My name is Kadia, and today we are going to continue our Unity Fundamentals course, going into the basics of UI. Here we're just going to cover buttons and how to add an image. In a later video, we'll be covering how to do health bars. So, went ahead and opened up our project and created perhaps the world's easiest script. We have a single function in the script called onButtonPress, and we're going to have debug that says press button. Now we need to set it up inside of Unity. So the way we do this is we go over here, we're going to right click, go to UI, and then we are going to add a button. This is going to add a couple of things to our scene. So the first thing it's going to add is a canvas and an event system. These are used to display and interact with things on the UI screen. And then it adds our button. So our canvas, let's go over this component first. So the first thing to notice is it is huge. And the reason for that is the canvas is effectively like a sticker on the lens of the camera. So on this whole white box represents the screen of the camera, the view of the camera. And wherever we put our UI elements on that box, it'll correspond to on the screen. It's very easy and intuitive to understand this if you have the game window docked to the side as opposed to docked to the same area as the scene. So right now I'm gonna just put this button in the top left, and let's go through the canvas component. So we've got a rect transform. This is very similar to the transform component. This is just used for canvas. Then we have a canvas component. The render mode will determine how the screen is rendered. So world space means it exists in the actual world. You can use this for like touchpads or local health bars on enemies that are like right above their heads or things like that. Overlay puts it on an overlay of all cameras, and then camera allows us to specify a single camera that it is displayed on, maybe for like cutscenes or something like that. Then we've got a canvas scaler. So this is how our canvas will scale. So I'm going to change mine to scale with screen size, and I'm going to set our default screen size to be our 1600 by 900. So that's what I have my aspect ratio on. And what that's going to do is make it so that no matter which device it is on, the UI is always going to look the same. Then you can select if you want to match width or height, or expand or shrink. I'm doing match width or height. I'm going to match 0.5, so halfway height and halfway on width. And then the graphic raycaster determines if the UI elements blocks clicking raycasts or those types of things. In our case, we're going to block nothing and go from there. So for our button has some properties on it as well. We've got our image. This is what the button looks like. Here we can set an override color for everything, but you also have this button part, and this has some stuff specific to a button. So we have our button image here, then we've got our colors. The reason why the text is blurry is because it is rasterized text. We can get around this a little bit, but most people these days just use the TextMesh Pro version of a button, which requires you to click this import TMP as essentials. And this is a plugin that has better text options. So for example, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. If I drag this button, see how much clearer and in focus this button is? Other than that, they function pretty much the exact same way. So I will proceed with the TMP button because I like that one better. But over here, we have our options. These are all of our colors, so what it looks like when it's normal or highlighted or what have you. Then if you click this little arrow over here, you can access the text component. This is the TMP text component. This section is where you can type in something, so press me. And then you can set all sorts of options, like the font size, your style, your alignment, and all of that. Then over here, you can do special things with TMP. I'll go into that in a later video, but you can do things like adding a glow effect, like an outline to the text, or like what have you. Like let's say I wanted to have a yellow outline, for instance. See, I've got a yellow outline on my text now. You can do cool stuff with TMP. The way we get the button to functionally work is this on-click area. So what you do is you hit the plus, and then you drag in an object with a script you want to access. You go down here, and then you can access any scripts on it and any public functions. So I'm going to add our script to it, go over to our button, come down here. We're going to select from no function to buttons, and then we're going to look for our function. We call it on button press. So now when I press play, I'm going to click this button, and you'll see here it says press button. So that's the debug.log that we wanted to happen. It's that simple. To add a image, very similar. You just go to UI image, and then you can move that wherever. One thing that you can do for scaling to make your life easy is you can come over to this little component here. If you click this and hold Shift and Alt and click in the bottom right-hand side, it will automatically scale it up to all your dimensions. You can use this for easy alignment and all that. And then we can just select, for instance, I'm going to just select this background image. And then the canvas renders from top to bottom. So the thing at the bottom will be displayed on top of everything else. So you might have to reorganize your items here. You can also mess around with the Z position to have a similar effect, as well as sorting layers. I hope you found this informative. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. See you in the next one.